Is this audible?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
That's perfect now.
Thank you so much. We are not live, right?
Not yet.
There are a few corrections that I wanted to ask if you can make just one. During the analytical question, the Masters in Business Analytics, I don't want you to take any name of any university or college. Just the request.
Perfect.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Can I ask you a little about like PE, VC, and AIFs also?
You
Something like
want to, you can, but eventually, until I don't represent the band, I'm not allowed to speak on that thing. So that's kind of thing that we follow the PFSI protocol. So once you're into the mutual fund segments now or AMC, until me and we have represented as an access properly, we have aligned together. I cannot
that?
share these topics, but I cannot speak much about these topics. That's the reason I asked you not to.
Okay, so you can't even like explain mutual funds or SIPs.
Yeah,
aloud.
I'm not. I am allowed to do that, but then on an official basis, then we need to have a segment because it comes under the AMFI guidelines. So that's the reason.
So you would say I shouldn't go into that too much?
Yeah. Not to that very what you call detailed financial questions. If that's the reason I did ask Pratik also and the Sanket also to not to look into picture.
Okay. So I'll just go like do a brief question over like mutual funds or something like that. Chalega?
You want to basically, but then what exactly the thing is na, I might sound technical here. That's the reason I'm little worried about it. And that's the reason when you have sent me the question, it doesn't have anything related to mutual funds. So I'm slightly confused what exactly it says.
ठीक है works.
You have went through the question. उसमें कोई नहीं है mutual funds के लिए कुछ है नहीं.
हाँ नहीं वो तो मैंने बाद में just सोचा because I was reading about AIF and all, so I was like if we can just ask you, but fair.
No, I can speak, but exactly then what this video, then you cannot post this video until it gets approved by the compliance. It cannot go live to the investors. There are a lot of things that you come into. Compliance is the key parameter. Isliye try to ignore mutual fund particularly. I'll be very honest. I can tell you about the AMC business. I will keep that in my question. I have a question answer for the marketing and digital age and all this time. The rest of the thing, I will give you a brief, but let's not go in the technicality yet, if that's my request.
Okay. ठीक है. And also like, can I do a question like how you went from doing BSc IT to getting into an MBA without naming your institutions?
You can do is how from tech to this. That would be
management.
Tech to management. So I'll give you a good answer on. So don't worry.
ठीक है.
You have your questions ready? Can you just we don't have a minute, I think so. We need to go live by 10, na?
I guess. I think we're already live. I'm not sure.
So they can hear us?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
No. It's not streaming live yet.
So try to ignore anything related to particular BFSI, mutual funds, everything. Try to, because then I don't want it to go live than YouTube. Like, if you want to do it, we can do it. But then going live on YouTube with it, it's a little worrying for me because then it creates a lot of ruckus in the SEBI and AMFI segment. So
perfect. We won't go.
But we can schedule a call like this if you want. Next, whatever you want, I'll call one of my title fund manager. So then you can look into picture. Then I will take it as from Access. We can merge it around and then we can make it live.
Perfect. So I'll just go, like I can go over what you do at Access or not even that.
Yeah. Sure. That's all good. No problem at all.
Okay.
I hope the voice is clear. Is there any buffle? I have using a podcast mic, so.
No, it's perfect.
Okay, thanks, brother. We are going with the same questions, right? The thing that he has sent me an email.
I did add one or two like in the flow. If like basically based on your answer, I'll just like.
Sure. No problem. Yeah. No problem. Yeah.
Well, I'll keep in mind whatever you said, like to avoid all of that.
Technicality in finance, not just avoid. My only reason is because this could create a lot of issue for me as an industry. I'm not allowed to, so.
ठीक है.
Just pin you on the screen.
By the way, we are live now.
Are we good to go?
By the way, we are live now.
Okay, so today we have with us Aditya Tripathy, an expert in fintech, brand development, and LinkedIn growth strategies. Aditya currently serves as deputy manager at Access Mutual Fund, where he oversees fintech channel strategies and builds key partnerships. With a rich background in marketing and e-commerce, he is also a LinkedIn growth expert, helping professionals expand their networks. We are excited to hear from him on how fintech is shaping the future, the importance of brand development, and actionable insights into growing organically on LinkedIn. So, very good morning to you. And I'll just start with asking you that you've moved from a customer service representative to fintech channel strategies at Access Mutual Fund. So, can you just tell us how that journey unfolded and what key experiences shaped this path?
Hi Rashna, thank you for inviting me here to this amazing podcast session. Eventually, the journey has so far been one of the best that I've been looking at. Particularly in the terms of networking, I come to meet around a lot of people from different fintech industries, whether it's P2P lending or neo bankings or different fintechs who have been selling mutual funds, AIF, PMS into their own applications. The journey has been so far quite different. So the time when I started to be a customer service representative in epicenter, eventually that was just a dare by my father that after 18 years old can you actually get a job. And this was a funny scene that he hurted my male ego. Particularly he said ki Aditya, nobody gets a job after 18 years old, and I was like, let me crack it. So I remember I went into multiple companies directly taking my CV and a blazer. I remember getting rejected by JP Morgan, where I cleared 3 rounds of interview, and then later I was returned back because I was not a graduate, and JP Morgan doesn't hire anyone below graduates. From there, I went multiple companies like Sutherland and few other companies until I at night I was invited to Epicenter for an interview, where I think I got selected for just being chivalry. Eventually, my first round was at 2:30, and my second round for the same day was at 11:30 at night. And the interviewer who was also my manager, was very tired. So I just went into the interview room and I went out again. I took a water and I just gave in. And then we started speaking about a lot of things in life. And this is how I cracked that interview. From there, I started understanding that where do I look forward myself in the industry? And the question always arises that where do you see yourself after 5 years? Believe me, I wanted to be someone who could network around, who could make sure that his communication skills probably could be enlightened in different ways. So yeah, from going out from customer service executive, learning what the customer is, the B2C genre, to coming to the B2B platforms, where now I understood customer, but from a business perspective.
Okay, so I also did notice that you moved from the tech, from doing a BSc to going into the management field. So can you just tell me how you made that transition? For a lot of people who are in tech right now doing a B Tech, how do they actually just go about with that?
Okay, so funny story, and I use these kind of statements during interviews. So normally for people like us or every segment, people come and ask us that from tech, how do you move to MBA or how do you move from a tech to a management story? And I'm like, I've been influenced by a character in 3 Idiots. Now you might be thinking, ki, a character in 3 Idiots. I'm like, it was not Rancho, it was not Raju, it was not Farhan, but it was a guy called Suhas. Now, funny story. Suhas also did tech engineering. Then he did an MBA. Now he's working in a bank. Quite the same story that I've been following up. But then after a certain end of your life, or whether you're in third or fourth year of your segments, where you actually go and meet people, look into industries, there are people who love to have segments of both, basically finance, marketing plus tech. Why we can't do multitasking when we have the opportunity to? This time, so if you remember during the times in 2002, 2003, when we were in school, our parents used to say, jack of all, master of none. Eventually, people with a single master degree or people with single master entitlement in their work was much renowned as compared to people with an average out. But today's company look forward for people who have an average knowledge of even 70% on every domain. They want one person who can handle multiple things. And I wanted to be someone who could show a roadmap. So that's how the journey started. So funny story, I follow Suhas, and yes, अगर आप मेरे जूतों पे चटनी डालोगे ही तो जान तो चलेगी यार. It's a branded shoes, so that's how the story is.
Okay, makes sense. So also you did notice that you've been in the entrepreneurial field. So you co-founded Datamonger, which is an e-commerce platform for esports NFTs. So what inspired you to become an entrepreneur early on, and then how did it actually go ahead to shape your problem-solving abilities?
Okay. First of all, it's Dota Monga. So there's a game, esports game. It was renowned as Dota, one of the strategy game which had the highly paid network in the market of esports. I was back in 10th. I used to represent India in playing a game called 1.6 Counter-Strike and a game called NFS Most Wanted. From there, I got entitled into the world of computers, where I started building computers, where I started building cryptocurrency mining systems. So there were a lot of investors that used to invest around these things, and I used to build mining setups for them. From there, I started earning my pocket money. It was like 4 to 5 years of my life in my college that I never asked a single penny from my mom and dad. I used to be, I can call myself a rich student by my own. Understanding the market well of the cryptocurrency, understanding the market well of the entrepreneurship journey. This is where I met a guy who was the founder of Dota Monger, and we both were in e-commerce system where we understood that okay, the artifacts in the game could sell for a much higher price. So we never used to sell for money. We used to trade. So simple enough, we used to take smaller items for like $100, and we used to sell one big item for $90 or $95. So it was a fair trade because I can just give you a representation in terms of bikes. You're getting a sports bike for 10 or 15, 150cc, 200cc bikes. And then I used to sell this 150, 200cc bikes to the manufacturer. And this is from taking a loan of 25 lakhs. We made around 1.2, 1.3 CR until my founder was very disruptive and the company got shut down because of his friends and all this thing. So that's a different journey. But then, yes, from there itself, I understood that this entrepreneurship journey has a very unique meaning. And this is where I was introduced to a term called venture capitalism. I started meeting a lot of venture capital. By the time I was in college, I don't remember that I've actually attended college much, or I do have friends from college. I have few friends, definitely, and they have been still with me from the college, but I was not much into the college life. I started attending various venture capital events, various corporate events. Just wanted to be around those 1% of India where I can see that, okay, these are the people of age of 40 to 50 years old who are established, who know what the market is. I started understanding where seed A, seed B, seed C funding goes in picture. And from past 4 to 5 years, I think more than 35 venture capitals have known me, or I've been into network with them. So yeah, it was a great journey. Although yes, the only suggestion is, and this is a funny one too, that we as a science student never knew the power of commerce or power of accounting. Or I can tell you is that during my MBA time, I was very bad at accounts as compared to any other subjects. So yes, you definitely need to know the power of compounding, power of money, and how does it work, rather than just jumping into the entrepreneurship journey.
Okay, interesting. So like considering you did have so many like VC contacts and all that. So just before we go ahead, can you just break down what a VC is? And you just spoke about like seed A, seed B. So just for someone who wouldn't know a lot.
Okay, I won't go much into detail, but I'll give you a very easiest example. So how does VC culture works is there are 2 to 3 segments into a venture capital thing. Okay, so there is one is seed A, seed B, which are the initial venture capitals. Okay, then there is seed C and so above, which are debt and major venture capitals, and there is a between both the lines there is a venture capital segment which is called the government venture capital. Now these VCs look at your idea and invest in against of the equity. There are VCs that also gives you debt, particularly where you can do is for the 2 years of the time you can either repay them back in the percent in an interest of 11 or 12%, or sometime if you have an angel investor he might take 8%, and if your company shoots up they can exit those debt clauses and go into equity by taking some of the equity from your company. So guys, just giving you a glimpse, pitching a venture capital is quite easy. So it's like if you watch Shark Tank, these Shark Tanks are backed by venture capital. Eventually, multiple single investors come together and form a company, or they invest in a company, and these companies invest in startups which they think is promising. Now, out of this, for seed A or seed B, a company called Bloom Ventures, which is one of the biggest in the country so far. Normally, I have a research on Bloom, and what I've heard so far is that no, for an entire quarter they invest in certain amount of companies, out of which they believe that 30% or 20% of the companies might bloom, and these companies would get them return for more than 100 companies in the particular picture. Lot of success stories in this. So this is how even the Shark Tank works. This is how even all the VC culture works. Investments work in terms of the startup. Yep.
Okay, so considering like you did have all these VC contacts, but you didn't really go into entrepreneurship that much. So what was the reason?
I will. After certain time, in a certain age of it, I will. So I believe that there's a book called Doglapan, which I started reading a few months back, and I was looking at Ashni's lineup, or I was looking at all the uh, people around in the entrepreneurial journey. First, they take experience. First, they understand the market which they want to go in. Unlike people come and tell you, no, you should, after 10th or 12th, you should definitely choose something for your own self and be firm on it. I am sort of a person who would suggest that explore everything as you can. See where you and your playstyle fits. And once that is done, experience the market, understand the pain of the market, understand the perks of the market. Once you have done all this thing and now that you're prepared which with all the fundamentals, jump into the entrepreneurial journey. It is tough, but once it shows you colors, those colors are bright.
So for someone who's not very sure of what problem they want to go about with solving, or someone who doesn't like who wants to explore every market, so like how would you say how does one basically compartmentalize and then come down, funnel it down into the top one or two, or how
Okay. My ideology to explore the market. And okay, good question. My ideology to explore the market is particularly till 28. Try all the flavors that you can. So when I meet people, when I was going into the tier 3 MBA colleges and giving sessions, I used to ask them, "What are you looking at?" And they were like, "IT is not my cup of tea. Tech is not my cup of tea. We have been from commerce background." So that mentality has been hurting me so much. Eventually, when I tell you get hands on everything, that means know everyone. I'll just give you a glimpse of how does things manage, or how this thing looks into picture. You have heard the quote called "Don't judge a book by its cover." Yeah, I started looking at a different fundamental, or the 1% of India, particularly the people that I meet, they have been looking at a different entitlement altogether. So now I say judge all books by its cover, but in the corporate term, know your own competition. I will definitely tell you how does it work. Can you imagine a number line between 1 to 10? Can you do it? That's not. This is for you. Okay. 1 to 10. Okay. Out of 1 to 10, your 1 to 5, the cater from 1 to 5 is a soft speaking person, is an honest speaking person. Just remember this. Okay. From 7 to 10, we have a strong opinion person, and from 5 to 7, we have a smart opinion person. Okay. You remember all the three? The first two, 1 to 5 is honest. The 5 to 7 is a smart X factor person. And 7 to 10 is a, what do you call, the strong opinion person. Now, suppose if an interview comes in picture and says, where do you see yourself after 5 years getting a job into the AMC business or any of the business, particularly. Let's take an AMC business, the mutual fund industry. So if someone, I cater into 1 to 5, I would just answer in a way that, so I think I would grow in a company. I would know where myself lies into picture, and I would see how the company would also benefit from me. A soft, honest answer. And the same time, if it's from 7 to 10, I will give a strong opinion answer which will have stats, the numbers, particularly telling them, okay, I would help them out to increase the gross sales completely. I would see what are new market opportunities. I would see how could my company's AUM can grow and benefit from my own self. How could I see I can entitle the sales? But when it comes to 5 to 7, this person is not looking out for stats, neither a complete soft answer. He is looking out for something that is a very different or an X factor, something that has never ringed his bars, something that is new, something it looks like a song which you have never heard and suddenly it catches your eye or catches your ears. And one of the thing would be 5 to 7. I would answer, sir. I would be sitting next to you, giving an interview, taking an interview of an extraordinary candidate like you are doing right now. Now, this thing actually hit him two ways. First thing that I'm saying that I would be following your own roadmap. And second thing is that I would also look for another opportunity so that we as a team can grow together. Now, coming to the question in the same way, I started looking at everything. I started being around people and started adjusting to what they are looking for. Where I understood that what customer as a whole market needs. So yes, well, that's the kind of short glimpse that I wanted to give, sir.
Okay, so just a little digression from what you said. So you did say get your hands into everything. So for someone who's actually wanting to get who is going to get their hands into everything, how that could lead to even more confusion, right? So how does one go about with that?
I would rather say confusion is a hustle. The more you know, the more better you have an idea where to get and where to not. If I look at the things in the previous segment, I think before marrying someone in an arranged marriage case, you meet a lot of people and you understand a lot of perspectives. And then you finally decide where are you landing with the person in. It's the same thing. The job market is for you to explore. The industry is for you to explore. Take one, analyze it, know about it, and then move forward. If you start getting confused, that's where you start also learning. That's where you deep diving into it. That's where your knowledge is going beyond what you have created a void for your own self.
So you did also mention that you do enjoy real world problem solving. So I just want to know how would you really go ahead and define what real world problem solving is? And then when someone is actually exploring all these different industries, how does one know what is a problem that is big enough or good enough to solve?
Okay. So during the time of my tech, I used to participate in something called case studies competition. So unlike person who doesn't believe in reading much or writing much, I'm more of a typer of a computer geek. I started, I think those case studies used to always excite me in terms of understanding where this thing is going on and then solving and keeping my own thing. Did I lag? Hello?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, thanks. Sorry. Yeah. So first of all, I started believing that, okay, I belong to one part of it. So there are few case studies live by Harvard or in their own YouTube channel. So I went there, I visited these videos, I started looking at, okay, how the other half of the world lives, how the competitive people on the market live. From there, I used to pick up random cases in terms of whatever domain. Discuss around things with teachers, particularly. I could have been called a teacher's pet, but usually during my college time, my teachers haven't always been my good friends. So understanding their journey, understanding everyone who is in the market, their own journey, asking them exactly where I can incline myself, and then noting all the points and creating one self version of mine. That's how I started looking at how to solve these problems. I remember one thing that we were looking at was the problem of getting jobs or getting internship. So me and my friend were discussing few ideas and understanding how can we make this internship market easy. We go into Naukri.com, we go on LinkedIn, we create profiles. So how LinkedIn was beneficial as compared to taking resume, waiting for college to give you internships rather than being dependent on someone. We started looking at the market. If can we directly approach them? Is there in a way where we can mix tech and the approach together and get them easy available? So that's how it get me into problem solving, and that's the reason I keep reading a lot of case studies, particularly. Even today, I look at all the problems. So recently, I was reading the negotiation between Bharat Pay and Ashneer. And I was thinking, what else could have been done from the legal point stand of view? Now, someone who doesn't have a complete idea on the legality was just opening clauses and understanding, okay, this could be one way, this could be other way. This is a loophole. So yeah.
Okay, so moving forward, I think fintech has seen a rapid growth and transformation. So, what do you think are the biggest changes that you've witnessed in this entire industry in the last 5 to 7 years?
First is fintech, particularly for me, was creating an amazing investor journey experience. So unlike companies where, or unlike times where you wanted to invest in a mutual fund, you need to go into a bank, sign a form, write an application, which still the tier 3, tier 4 cities are doing till now with the banks. Particularly these fintechs were with investing was made easy when you go into a company, when you go into an app like Grow, Zero, the Paytm, Kubera, the companies that we all, me and the team, me and my seniors and all the team manage together, the fintech events. So fintech companies of around, we manage around 100 fintech companies, and believe me, I met all of them. Everyone is there to just solve one problem, that how to make investing easy. So the time from where, so normally if I need to do an investment in a bank, particularly, I will take around 1 to 2 days to do KYC. Then from KYC, I will go around, wait, come back again. So it was going through for a very good time. Now with companies like Growth Zero, that it takes an hour or two to just do the KYC and then start investing. It directly drops you on the landing page, makes you invest within a minute of your time. So, and particularly not just investing, in every segment, they were making finance very easy using the tech. For the very first time, I felt like, okay, this is something revolutionary. And if you look at companies, so I would just ask you a question. Where do you see, which are the top companies in India? Normally people say it's Big Four, right? Big Four, Deloitte, TCS, Wipro, and so the company. I am telling you that's going to change. These new fintechs are much bigger in cap, in valuation, much larger in terms of size, and the ideas that they go through is significantly different. Company like Zerodha, they don't have a marketing team. I was very shocked that how could you enhance a company without a marketing team? They don't have a single person who is entitled to marketing. Eventually, if you speak if you speak to some representative from Zerodha, the first thing is that we don't believe in marketing. We believe in just making a user experience easy, and that changed. Complete now, everyone who is jumping into the fintech ecosystem is just trying to solve all the problem that would help you out to worry about one major thing: investing in finance, investing with money, which was one of the riskiest thing earlier. People never used to judge, people used to be scammed. Now there are so much layers of protection around that, it cannot happen, and India is leading into that. Fintech ecosystem in India has been grown significant. So I saw 5 trends I could tell you. One is the customer service experience, which the investor has been looking into picture. Second thing, the enhancement of tech, particularly into landing or creating a shorter waitage time for you to invest, onboard your bank. Google Pay is one of the biggest example. You can onboard a bank within a minute or second into an application with all the authorization, 3 layers of protection. Third thing is the market has been finally recognized by multiple people around in India. So earlier it was not. People didn't knew the power of investing. People thought that FD or basically saving money into their account would be beneficial for them to enhance their future. They didn't knew that you can actually invest and make money. And now this thing is growing significantly. So yeah, kind of all the key pointers that I wanted to put in here.
Okay, so now we are responsible for the strategy and business development in fintech channels at Access Mutual Fund. So could you just go through like what you do basically, and how do you go about with building partnerships and gaining like the market share into the fintech channel?
Okay. Thanks to the opportunity. So I'll tell you, this company came into my college for placement. And before the placement, the person who was also part of the college long back, he was a student in 2005, my boss, super boss. Not my super boss, basically my senior, my super mentor, or the super friend I had, Martin Singh. So Martin took my interview, which went for 1 hour. before the interview process started. He just wanted to see if there is someone who could just look into things. So this partnership, everything, I've been doing this from standard 11 or the first year of my life. Why? Because I used to go bring sponsors, talk to companies, multiple around, and understand what these companies were. I can tell you one thing that I'm not good at talking to someone on dates or going to meet a girl, but I'm good at meeting partners. I can understand them well because I feel like meeting them and understanding the problem is much easier than going on dates. So I started meeting them. I started addressing sponsors from getting contact with companies like Gigabyte, Nvidia, LG, Intel, to having a hands-on experience organizing events like Lollapalooza or few other multiple music events or gaming events. From there, I was hired in an access to fill a place to understand where I can network in with this thing. And I know a way to do that. There are different entities. First, you go on their website, you can just contact the support and ask with an address statement stating that you are a business development manager and you want to connect with someone who's on the business front end. The way you sound is what is important. This is where people catch whether you are actually from a sales department or you belong to the management department. Then LinkedIn is one of the favorite tools that I've been using. So you look for one person and they give you suggestions from multiple others. Start connecting them. If you have a profile that has been liked by these industry leaders, they will add you because people connect to those who they think they can fit into their ecosystem. So that's where I understood. I started building my own LinkedIn profile, started working on it, looking at multiple profiles, how leader profile looks like, how good LinkedIn profile looks like. Then I used to go in multiple events, something called a Global Fintech Fest or Fintech Fest Olympiad, where I've been as a speaker too. And I started meeting these industry experts. I used to go just shake my hands with them and talk to them about what problems they're facing first. Knowing them was my first part of the job. So believe me, from being around Matan, Mayank, Omkar, Himanshu, Prabal, all these peers that I have in my company, they helped me out particularly to understand where I could go and network. You have watched the movie called Wolf of the Wall Street? So there is a movie called Wolf of the Wall Street where the famous quote is, "How do you sell a pen?" Jordan Belfort. And
I have. But
yeah,
you can go ahead.
Yeah, Jordan Belfort. So this is where I understood that yes, pitching someone or having an elevator pitch for your own self gets you in the network. It creates a path for you. So yes, I've been enjoying this thing so far. Yeah.
Okay, so since you've also like pursued marketing roles earlier in your career, so can you just like go ahead with how does one go ahead with like actually getting into a marketing role? Like what's
Okay. Again, playing around the fields, this was one place where, again, someone from the marketing ecosystem just challenged me. It's like, being into tech, being into coding, being around these things can be easy for an engineer or from a tech background person. But getting into marketing, knowing the digital marketing side of the life is little tough. Understanding the user experience. Again, it's all based on the customer and user experience. How could you manage this thing? So that's where I took it up. I started doing courses at Coursera, Google Analytics, Google Digital Marketing, Google 360, Digital Marketing Garage. I started doing multiple courses and I wanted to see where I can fit in. So these tools particularly, or if I can tell you that I don't take much time to understand any tool, whether it's from Photoshop, CorelDRAW, to looking at any particular tool. It takes me 1 week or 2 weeks just to identify without the classes, without anything, just looking at YouTube videos and working around, using it. So from there, changing into fintech or changing into finance was a little difficult. I was not sort of person who would be a core finance lover apart from crypto. But then, yes, I was trying new flavors until I finally found fintech as an industry.
Okay, so I also like you did mention, I also saw Nitin Kamat's interview where he did mention that Zerodha doesn't have a marketing team. And he also did go ahead and say that there are some companies or a lot of companies who then can't imagine leads without advertising or without marketing. So like, what would you have to say to that? And what do you think of the entire strategy of Zerodha?
So he is a visionary, Nikhil sir. I've met him twice or thrice because of the work that we do around. He's part of my company in terms of Zero, the part being managed by Access EMC. Um, he has a very different fundamental. Again, customer experience where he puts everything into picture, tech which he believes completely into it. The way so I'll tell you something that Zero the started, which no other team, no other people believed in. They believed in the generation that is coming up. They believed in MBA colleges, even with students from engineering colleges. They went and educated them. It's like rather than you being depending upon a fund manager or you been depending upon someone who can advise you how to investing, Nikhil sir and his team, Zerodha, complete Nikhil sir, Nitin sir and his team, Zerodha, went and started helping everyone to be a self-investor, self-advisor. And that's where entirely thing changed from giving them a tech platform for free without certain brokerage to also educating them who would not love to be educated in terms of investments, who would not love to be a part of the stock market dilemma. I would call it a dilemma, of course, that sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But then, so yeah, I feel like currently the way he's been handling it, they don't do marketing at all. But Nikhil sir himself is a brand now. So he has showed that solving problems is much better than marketing yourself with a fake entitlement. तुम अपने आप को तो बड़ा बता सकते हो using some money or something or promoting your own self. But will that work? Giving you a simple example, people today from various gaming segments or everything or other sectors, the influencers, okay, the short-term influencers, not the bigger time, but the short-term influencers, they think that getting some followers or getting some reach around would make them popular and get the money into the picture. But then later, it is for a shorter area. 3-4 years you might earn money, but later what you will do in your life? On the other hand, people like us who've been working hard, working in the job industry and later being the entrepreneur, taking the entrepreneurial journey or being into the job industry for a good time, later after being into the age of 35-40, you become either top management till you take up top management position. These people would grow in the later half of the life. Simple example, sharks, all the sharks. You have never seen them in the age of 30, 35, 40. Right now, they are one of the biggest stars on the country.
Okay, makes sense. So just coming back to our whole fintech conversation. So can you just define what fintech, how would you define fintech? And then what are the various regions or the domains to build under fintech for someone who's approaching it as a startup?
A few domains. Basically, fintech is financial plus tech. Very easy to look into picture. You solve financial problems using tech and understand where you can put into picture. A few of the domains that I know, particularly one is the investment domain, where multiple companies who have risen up, Zerodha, Grow, Paytm, solving from stocks to mutual funds to AIF to PMS to all the financial, even loans against mutual funds. Or nowadays, I can see even companies who can sell you FDs. So earlier, getting an FD or getting a loan was very difficult. Today, it is just a matter of hand. You click, you submit your documents, you upload your entire segment, do a KYC through DigiLocker. Within 15 minutes, you can get a loan of a certain amount depending upon your credit score. So loans, mutual funds, P2P lending. I've met multiple fintechs. Then there are a few fintechs who have started building the HR system, HR management system, CRM. Operational part of it. KYC is one of the major problems that people are still facing because it's a government-centric thing. So solving KYC problem, companies like Sciency have been doing it significantly well. Neo banking is one of the things where bringing banking experience to your entire palm. You do not need to stand in line. You just go on your phone and get into things. So yeah, multiple things. But there are a lot of domains in fintech. There's no what do you call restriction to exactly what you're looking at. If you can solve something out of tech, you are part of the ecosystem.
Okay, and how should one actually like go about what do you give us steps to create a good customer experience and also how to make investment easy for someone who's trying to build zero to one and two?
So first, understand the market completely. Which market do you want to involve yourself in? There are multiple financial products. Think to take two pieces, do your SWOT analysis, understand which would be much better. Giving you a simple example, these days I've been looking at competitive analysis for mutual funds and loans. Mutual funds and for FD, fixed deposit. there are people who have been taking even education loans particularly, but there are different loopholes that you can get education loan. Now there's one of my friend who is now building a thing. So you know that you can take you if you suppose you have a certain amount of money and you want to pay for a certain amount of education fees, you do is you go into the educational loan system. Rather than what he did was he did an FD of 5 lakh rupees which he had with him. The fees was around 9 or 10 lakh, and against FD he took an overdraft OD. Now, with FD, he was getting a 6% return. With overdraft, he was paying a 7% return. He was paying a 7% interest. Now, eventually, if I calculate, it was just a 1% interest that he was paying. Smartly done. On the other end, if you go and take any education loan, you're paying at least a minimum of 9.5% interest. So, understanding which market do you want to pursue, your own structure in, then go into startups or companies that have been working around this market. Learn under them what they are solving. Once you are ready with all the information, either merge with them or request them that they want to start off their own. Take a step. Please, I would request that people normally have seen, particularly the college students, they go into if they get an opportunity to go into bigger events, conferences, they go and sleep. They use your phone. Don't go and listen to them. Try to just go and talk to these people. See, can you make your first conversation with them? Understand what they are solving. Understanding from which timeline they started pivoting their own company and now they have finally found what they're looking out for. So work in the ecosystem, understand, and that take your hands on how would you move ahead.
So you've been around some really influential people. You've met with a lot of VCs, and you've met with like Nikhil Kamath, Nitin Kamath. So what are your top, like, just share whatever learnings or what have you just seen from them, or just would love to hear that.
Okay. First is Karthik Reddy from Bloom. So I met him. So I was invited by TVF to attend their shoot of Pictures. Pictures is a web series based on startup. So there, the first episode was based on Karthik Reddy and all the other entrepreneurs. So I met him. I just experienced why I wanted to join the venture capital, and this is where he asked me a bit. So later, all on the drinks, I was not drinking around him. I was just sitting around him, and he asked me, Aditya, why does you want to join the venture capital ecosystem? And I think my answer made him laugh because first I categorized him that he was a 5 to 7 person. So I just said him, sir, that your BMW standing outside with the 740D logo shines bright. I just want to take the car, take the key and leave. That makes you. Second thing, networking around you would also make sure that I can learn a lot of things from you. Similarly with Nitin sir, I've always loved him because he's been very approachable. He's a down to Nitin sir, Nikhil sir, both have been very approachable. They have been very down to earth. So I, rather than just going and introducing myself, I took a problem statement and I directly thrown a question at him. This is where he was much enthused to talk to me as compared to the other people who were just bragging and looking out for a job. I didn't went and go out to ask for a job. I asked for a problem statement if there is a way to solve this problem statement. So again, taking a first step and meeting them, speaking something in front of them is it should be your goal. These influential people are easy to talk. They are human beings. It's just that we hype them around. Let's believe that rather than taking them as a role model, I believe that they are the competitors that will be. And I really want to stand at a place where they are for once.
So how would you say, like, for someone like you or someone like me or someone, how can we go from where we are right now to actually standing as a competitor to them, and what have they done right, or like what have they done differently that we should like?
The research game is strong. So people don't depend. Again, we as students have always been dependent upon multiple things, from faculties to placement coordinators to our college, multiple things that. I'm just going to tell you one thing. The tier 1 colleges around the world, they are not known by because of the faculties or because of the auditorium or because of infrastructure. They're known by the students that they keep. The students is the one that shows people around that, okay, we are representing this college, XYZ college, and now you're going to fear the entire college. Because if few students come and can win any sort of competitions or can go into any market, what about the rest? That's how thing goes into picture. This is a complete mindset where your attitude is quite important. So going into the market, understanding this ecosystem, going into events particularly, meet people, go wherever, stand outside. Take a time, look at his LinkedIn profile, look at his journey, start researching. All the senior leaders that have been around, they research well, they read well. Even my peers, every day, first in the morning, they wake up and they have started reading newspapers, they start reading all the case studies, they start reading the market completely. By the end of the day, they are much more active than what we are. So that's the reason they are better in competition than us.
Okay, and how would you say you would like build relationships? Like you said, you like to meet all these partners, all these sponsors. So what would you give tips to actually build meaningful, long-lasting relationships with these kind of people?
Sound natural. People that I've met during college events and anything, these students or everyone in the market who are joining new have been following the very old trend. Simple enough. If you cannot sound fresh, no one would be interested in you. Giving you an example, if I can tell you, introduce about yourself. I have heard people saying, I am this, I am XYZ, I belong to the state, I have done my degree, and now I'm doing MBA in this. So it feels like that you're in school. I am Aditya, I'm 6 years old, I go to Centrox. This is kind of thing. Rather than with your own conversation within the first second of the words that you have been putting outside your mouth, it should sound fresh. Uh, when I used to introduce myself, I just started looking at a different way. So if I can just like, hi, my name is Aditya, and I belong to those part of people which you refer as nerds or geeks. So basically an engineer. And then from there, I took MBA as an option because I wanted to see where my networking skills and communication skill lag. Currently, I am, and so I started sounding fresh again and again and again and again and again. Something that you have not heard for the first time. This is where my elevator pitch was ready. So with every person that I go, I try to adjust into his scale rather than stating that, okay, I'll be what I be.
So for someone who doesn't know what an elevator pitch is, can you just like go over that?
Okay. There are times in your life where you think that you can't speak. For me, it's always been like dates. I cannot go and speak on dates. So what I do is whenever I'm going for an interview or whenever I'm meeting a new networking partner, I want to impress from day one or day 0 minute. So that's what actually an elevator pitch is. It's like a sound or it's like a song that you hear and you are very inclined towards it. No matter you might have not even heard the genre of that sound, but then suddenly it rings your bell and it's like, oh wow, I could also enjoy this kind of thing. So that's an elevator pitch. It should be fresh. It should be fresh. It should look like okay, you are something different from what other people are.
Makes sense. So can you just like very quickly just go over mutual funds, AIFs little if you want to, and also then go ahead and what are the challenges that we could see in fintech in the next 5 years with SEBI also bringing in a lot of rules and regulations
I
now.
would rather ignore this question, particularly in the picture, if you don't mind. Yeah.
So what do you see as the future of fintech in India, like in 5 to 7 years now?
New entrepreneurs creating new way of looking into investment, which is much better than what we have in particular picture. Um, Coming to a standpoint of view, new things. I believe that after a certain time, the cash ecosystem or the payment ecosystem would be totally gamified. So fintech as complete industry would be growing in a very different way. People now would be actually talking more about solving solving segments like P2P lending or mutual fund loans against mutual fund and making things easy for everyone to access rather than making it a very niche approach like the banks have been creating. I believe that at a certain time, banks would also become fintechs from following the signal. There would be a time where multiple banks that we hate, I'm not going to take the name, multiple banks that we hate for their culture would also change. So the new generation or you guys have been making life easy for us.
Okay, so you're also a LinkedIn growth expert. So can you just share some actionable tips for professionals looking to grow their presence on LinkedIn?
Okay. Everyone in the audience, I believe they have been on Instagram or other social media platforms. What is the first thing when you, so I'm going to ask you, Rajnath, a question. Please do answer. Now it's my time to ask you a question. So when you add someone on Instagram who is new, what do you look at it? What do you look for the factors?
Basically, I think it's their profile picture or some like just their feed.
Okay. When you become a friend of someone new, what do you look for the fact? What kind of factors are you looking out for?
Basically, how they match the vibe or how they're something like that.
LinkedIn is part of the same thing. Your profile should be so sounding, or your profile should look so appealing that person who wants to add you, the industry leader, should think that he wasting a time on you when you ask a question would be worth it. So, coming from your profile picture, it should be elegant. It should be not above the tie. Then having a cover photo which makes presence of you, showing what your skills are is very important. So please look at it. Having a significant bio rather than just being I all the time is important. Putting all the things that you have done in your life. So when people come and tell me that Aditya, we are freshers or we are introverts, the market is not for you guys. Right now, people gaining sympathy using these words gonna be in the other half of the industry, or I could call it a janta. The 1% would just keep updating, showing what they are looking out for. So LinkedIn is where LinkedIn is a new resume particularly, and this is where people are actually looking out for what you have on the panel that we can connect with.
So can you just even take a greater deep dive into what would a really good LinkedIn profile look and like how do you make it more appealing?
A good cover photo is the first thing. Cover photo should have all it should have a significant detail where it shows that it should have a detail about your elevator pitch, particularly what you can do. What are you good at? Are you good at multitasking? Can I also rely on other things which is out of your domain? That should your cover photo have. A profile photo should be pretty formal, not something of an influencer background, but something that shows that, okay, you belong to the market. Then a significant about is very important. Your about should be short, but top notch. Like while reading, it should make an impact for you. Then going down, please write all the experiences you have done during your college days. It creates a lot of impact, whether from cultural activities to being part of any clubs to what you have done. Start explaining it. Start showcasing what you're looking at. Put few certifications. Certifications are part of things which is very, very important. So do a lot of certifications, show few interest, and that's it. That's a good, decent profile. The way you work hard to create a good Instagram profile, please start working hard to create a good LinkedIn profile.
And for someone who's very new, who should I be sending connections to? Like you just mentioned, there's a lot of suggestions when you go to one person's profile. So
first increase,
newbie.
First increase a bandwidth of 1,000 people knowing around you, your friends, everything. Until you don't reach 1,000 followers in Instagram, in LinkedIn, don't try to engage with this. Then make a list of the companies. Take a sector. Suppose FMCG sector or the beverage drink sector. Write down 5 companies that you think would be your dream companies. Coca-Cola, HUL, everything. Search these companies on LinkedIn and start adding those people from top management to bottom management. Start adding everyone. The easiest way to get recognized is to add the senior top management. They drive to teach youngsters. They love to connect with the faculties that you have. Please go meet them, understand your journey, understand their journey, understand where they have, where you can learn from them. How could going around from one industry to other industry they have worked around, so they are very eligible to teach you guys. Similarly, with other note down your dream companies first. At least 5 companies of each sector, and at least you should have 5 sectors in your life. Different 5 sectors. 25 companies. Within a month, add 100 people out of these 25 companies. Whomsoever accepts it, go and talk to them. Just text them hi. So I would love to know about your journey. Can you help me out? How could I improve myself? People should be when they want to actually improve themselves in terms of LinkedIn or networking, everything. Start looking out for feedbacks rather than compliment, and start working on them. That's what grows your mentality.
Okay, so just to close, would you have any advice for any aspiring entrepreneurs? Any other closing words?
Step into the market, guys. Please don't fear your own self. Start working on the communication pitch. You only get one time. There's an event that happens in Bangalore called NASCON Conclave, or there are multiple venture capital events, or there are entrepreneurial events. Please connect with me. I'll drop you links to these events. I'll get you invites. Go attend. Look at the market. Until you don't go and feel the entire aura of your own competition, you won't be able to understand what this journey is all about. So my thing is go network, meet 100 of new people, stop being introverts, stop calling yourself freshers, and yeah, showcase the world what you have.
In the staff and faculty members, I have also learned some important things in the field of fintech. I take this opportunity to express our heartfelt gratitude to you for joining us on behalf of entire Saturday 10 a.m. at NMIMS Shirpur campus. At the same time, I am very grateful to our director, Dr. Sunita Patil ma'am, for constantly motivating us in organizing these sessions. This is an opportunity to thank Dr. Payal ma'am, Dr. K.V. Patil sir, and how could I forget Sanket, who helped us connect you. All of them, thank you so much in organizing this session. And last but not the least, our deans, faculty and staff, and all of the participants who have joined this session. And with this, I declare that the session is over. And once again, thank you all for joining the session.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you, sir.